all these women have been scammed because they can pay more taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Try to escape the modern slavery.
Trump, he said, we're going to have only male and female in this country.
I think it was political agenda trying to confuse the public. Stop being controlled.
Is there some new technology that the government has we don't know?
And that's why you see Elon Musk is extremely advanced. And when people talk about world war, it's going to be in space, it's not going to be on ground.
Do you think collapse of the dollar is going to happen within Trump time?
The dollar, it is a scam. It's going to die.
Yo, Mark 9. They really don't think we can keep doing this.
Okay, I saw Dan Bilzerian's interview with the. He was really talking pro-Palestine a lot.
He was, but the biggest disadvantage was he was on a camera. He wasn't very comfortable. Like when you see someone face to face, you're more empowered to respond, to talk, to prove your argument. The issue was he was in Doha and Pierce was in London, so he wasn't really being able to talk to him directly. If you see his interview with David Pat, it was extremely powerful because he was, he can see someone in front of him and talk to him, which was great.
Yeah, I mean, now welcome to my podcast, Tarek.
Thank you.
We started with Dan. I mean, I think he was talking about changed his lifestyle in a way. I mean, he was like all that about girls, and you see that the money thing and the show off, and then he said like this life is not for him anymore. Although I saw the Instagram is still the same.
Well, if you see, he hasn't posted anything for about a year. So things change with Dan, and he's a great guy. Things changed with him about almost a year and a half ago. He starts seeing the world from a different perspective, and he's an extremely intelligent guy. Sat down with him many times, and we had many conversations. He found that happiness is not only on what you have, and probably we sit down, have a great dinner. It's the best thing for him. Having great friends. He loves cats too. He got 4 cats. Has a lot of passion for cats. Obviously, he stopped drinking. He realized that drinking was very bad for the health. Believe it or not, we sit down and we drink all the time chamomile.
Oh,
And that became the passion. So me and another 2 great friends, Amir Abdullah is the world champion kickboxer, and another friend. So we always send pictures at evening time. There's my chamomile. We're drinking. It became like a routine and a habit, which was great.
yeah. Do you believe like he made it like in a way that fake it until you make it? I mean, I don't know how he made his money. Although only the story that I know is the gambling part, where he won and then. But
I heard, he told me actually, and I searched many things about him. He's a great poker player, and he made his money in poker. Even his family had, back in the days, money, and he's an ex-veteran. He served in the army. That was the start. And then he has multiple companies. One of his biggest company, probably is net worth around 400 million. Ignite, the vaping company. That was big success for him. That's how he made his money. But he's a funny guy. He goes out to have fun. But I think a lot of things has changed. He's the king of Instagram. I mean, wherever we were going in Doha, and everyone was like, I didn't expect it.
Yeah, he's a big celebrity. Yes,
every single person knew him that time, and it was great. He loved the Middle East. He liked it a lot.
Yeah, I mean 30 million followers, I guess, on Instagram.
31, even on. He's got a lot of connection, politician, major business people as well. So he's done a lot in his life, and it was a great advantage for me to get from his experience and learn a lot from him. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, you, Tarek, also a businessman and the youngest millionaire
in the city.
In the city,
Numbers don't count.
Numbers don't count, but you have a lot of ambition, and you came from the Middle East, went to USA, and you made it.
I went to the UK first.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first place I went to was London. It was a great experience for me. I learned a lot from the European culture. That was the beginning for me. So I had probably 10, 15 years. And then luckily we did the change and we said, okay, we're going to pack the bags and we're going to go to the US. And that was the beginning. US market is a great market. It's a truly American dream can happen if you have the challenging mentality. You know, a lot of friends, a lot of people today, they want to be happy, they want to be rich. They think about happiness. How can I be happy every day? I don't believe this life is meant to be for happiness only. I mean, if you have that mentality, is good, but don't have it all the time because life sometimes crush you. And in order to be, we'll start speaking in Arabic. The person that have the happiness mentality, he will get into events where it becomes challenging. When you have the happiness, I want to be happy all the time. What's going to happen is you're going to get into a challenge and you're going to be depressed. You're going to say, what happened to me? Why am I facing I want to be happy. You get the first test and you say, oh my God. I want to be, I'm going to be depressed. I'm upset. I'm stressed. This is where stress and depression comes from. When you change your mentality to be a person who always accepts challenges, I wake up every morning, I know there is a challenge coming. So when you go through the test, you're actually ready. I give you an example. If we're sitting on a table talking and someone come and punch you in the face, you're going to be in shock and you're going to lose the fight. Versus if you are already ready in a ring and you have your gloves on, you're ready to anyone that going to fight you. And this is the same mentality today. In your life, you're going to go through a lot of challenges. You're going to go through a lot of tests, unlikely event. So if you don't have the challenging mentality to go and be ready to face all the challenges, you're going to fail. And you're going to be depressed and stressed. And you're going to sit at home and you're going to go just nowhere. So...
yeah, exactly. I mean, it depends where you link your happiness to what. I mean, if your happiness is to settle and just be happy, and you're totally right. I mean, the happiness can be the hard work. It can be like for me. I mean, I feel like when I work, I'm happy. So when I'm building, let's say, improving myself, I'm happy. I mean, it's work. When I go to gym, I'm happy. So sometimes the hard work is the happiness
right.
as well. It's not.
I give you a quick tip. If you just get a book and write all your achievement on it, because sometimes you're going to go through bad time. Write every achievement you have done in your life. And whenever you go through a bad test or you go into a closed door, go back to this book. Open it and read every achievement you did. That will be your motivation to keep you happy and to keep you going. Because sometimes we're happy today, we're doing broadcast, everything is beautiful. And then you get the first challenge, say, oh my God, what am I going to do? So that keeps the motive going. It will keep the ignite lasting for too long, which is great. This tip, I heard it from a close friend and I've always used it. Write all my achievement on one book. And every time I'm going through any stress, I go back to this book and read it. And that gives me, again, the ability to go and face all my challenges. I don't use the word problems. A lot of people say, oh, the problem. When you say the word problem, most of the time you become a problem to the problem. You don't become solution. So you have to always say, it's a challenge and I will fix it. See how the mindset, I mean, if you hack your brain, you can go through a lot of things. And that was, one of the things I used in my field, in my personal life, in my social life, and in my business life.
Yes. So, I mean, I believe in that. I believe you can attract problems if you really feel that they are problems. You can attract anything wrong or anything negative in your life if you have that mentality. And the opposite is true as well. You can attract this manifestation, believe in yourself, believe that things can happen, It's something. but it all goes to the confidence and how we were raised and how much really we have self-awareness as a person. For me, it took time to prove myself, to believe in myself. It took time. I worked hard on it,
Do you want to go deep? Do you want to go deep
Yeah.
into this conversation? Okay. So, I've read a lot about, we all have trauma in the past. But who are you really? If you look at yourself in the mirror, who are you? You are a product of multiple events happened to you in the past since you were young. And most of your decisions are based on these events. So if you look at every individual, you have three brains. You have your conscious, subconscious, and your actual brain. So if we can translate this to Arabic, you have الوعي واللاوعي والعقل الحقيقي. 90% of all individuals, all the people in the world, they operate on their subconscious. They don't really feel, it's like automatic. The automatic door that you go through?
Yeah.
Just like automatic door. We wake up in the morning, you do the same thing. This is how happiness goes away. They run by schedule, they run by time. And this is why I told you earlier, I don't work for the time, I let the time work for me. I do things on my own time. So when you were young, there is a lot of things happening in your life. Watching your family, watching your friends, exposed to TV, series, movies. All these together have formed who you are today. And that's how you base all your decision. So many times, if you want to really go of yourself, you have to go to the past and see, okay, why am I doing this? Why I think happiness is there and not here? Why am I doing things more emotionally than logically? Emotion is always a weakness. People like emotions, but it's a weakness because I can get to you through your emotions. You have to always isolate, keep the logic going. That's how we do things in business. All numbers, and I have to be logical about it. As soon as I put any type of emotion into any project, I will fail miserably. So logic plays a lot of things. How do you isolate your subconscious? Your subconscious in doing anything. Every time try to resist yourself in any habit. There is saying in Arabic, أنا متعود أن لا أتعود على أي شيء. هي شغلة كتير important for any person. Always try not to get used to something because this is who you are. Look at yourself in the past. You keep doing the same things. You might change here, change there, but most of the time you are actually doing the same exact habits. And that's because of your past. If you're able to change your subconscious and take control, then your judgment will be clear. And then things will completely change around you in your business life, personal life. Every single aspect of your life will change. It's beautiful. It's like heaven. So try and let me know.
Yeah. Well, the hardest part is to know yourself. And this is because when you are a kid, if you don't have a reference, which is usually the father or the mother, and as a man is the father, so he is the reference for you. He is the mirror. He is where you bounce and get a reaction or learn something. You usually learn it from your father. So usually when he is away or far from you, it's just like you can't see your reflection in life, and then you keep on searching for who you are and the self awareness. And this takes a lot of time to figure it out, to figure who you are and what you really need in life, what's your personality. Because we only can see things with the perspective. Like we only know if something is big or small when we compare it with something next to it. Like in an empty space, you don't know the distance.
What about if you don't have a father?
That's it. You have to find the mirror that gives you the feedback, which is not always the right mirror or the right reflection, because people tell you something that it might not be true about you, or you're just comparing yourself with someone untrusted, because you can't trust all people. You only trust your father, and and that time you were a kid. So I don't know. I want to ask you, what
So-
if you don't have a father?
So I lost my father when I was 2 years old due to a car accident.
Allah
And
yarhamah.
shukran, habibi. And that was the beginning to understand that I can only trust myself. If you don't trust yourself, you will never succeed. Not having a father have created something within myself. I'm a father for 4 now, so I want to thrive to be the best father possible. Probably that was one of the best thing ever. Changed things within me, which gave me the ability to succeed and be the best father. Not having a father was really tough for me. I grew up with 3 other brothers, and there is a major age difference. You know, the youngest one between age difference is about 9 years old. The 3 of them 8, 9, and 10. So I grew up in a house where everyone is older than me. I never really enjoyed to have friends. I've always had to be ahead of my time. I always had to be, communicating with someone 10 years ahead of me. It might be, for others, they might say, oh my God, that's difficult. For me, it was great because it makes me who I am today. I'm always ahead of my game. I can be smart, you can be smart, but if you don't have the experience from the elderly, you will never succeed. True success needs experience. So that was a major thing for me. And in the trust, I learned to be to trust myself, and I learned to be the backbone. Usually if you're young, if anything happened to you, you go back to your father, hey dad, I want to do something. For me, I didn't have, oh dad, this happened to me. I had to be the father since I was like 2 years old, and that grew up with me all the way. Give me advantage. I always look at the advantage in everything, in every situation. If something I can change in the past, if something within my ability to change, I'll go back to change it. But something like that, there is no change I can do. It's fate. So I had to accept it, and I had to look at the great advantage, and I took it, and I'm so thankful today.
Yeah, and you surround yourself also with friends who's older than you. I mean, you're stuck with that.
All my friends. I mean, Dan Bilzerian.
Yeah.
A lot of other friends. My mentor, he's 73 years old, I think. He's 73 years old. I get inspired by them. When I entered the business world, my first quote was, never be jealous of someone you should be learning from. Unfortunately, a lot of people today, they make this mistake and they go ahead and, they get jealous of someone. You should be learning from him. You should understand what's his spices, what's his secret. And that was the best thing I've ever did. All the people, elderly people were around me. I had to go and be inspired. I had to show them, just give me the knowledge and I'll show you what I can do. I will hustle. And that was the major step for myself, going forward and doing many projects. I was blessed. You need a blessing, but you need to hustle too. So
yeah, but you told me when you surround yourself with great minds and older people, you kind of learning, but you're not playing, or you're not enjoying part of you as a young Tarek.
Yeah, I definitely missed my childhood. That's something. I live my childhood today with my kids. Usually when you surround yourself with elderly people, you're always on the move. You're always thinking about project. You're always thinking, how can I improve myself every day? So probably happiness is not by being teenager, probably by not only, going to party. I like to change the way I live, because when I'm looking at my friends, I don't like to be fixed into the modern slavery. Every person I know close to my age or younger than me, they're all fixed into the comfort zone. And that's the modern slavery. You have to stay away from it. I can never work 9-to-5 job. There is no way. People sometimes, tell me this is not right. You should think about it. I quit my 9-to-5 job to work 24 hours, and that's much better for me. So this is one of the best advice I can tell everybody. Try to escape the modern slavery. How you go every day. You have to be on automatic. Wake up at 9, go get a job. buy a home, pay a mortgage. You have to break through this and think on, what's my capability? What can I do? What can I provide? And this is what elderly people provide you. They provide you a knowledge on how you can achieve it. They will never achieve it on your behalf, but they will tell you how to achieve it. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to go too fast. Everybody wants to things. People think happiness being rich. What's happiness for you?
I mean, it's part of it.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
No, I mean, happiness for me is finding myself and know my capabilities and working. For me, happiness is not ideal to anybody, but for me, is work, is achieving,
What about success?
And success, yeah. That's happiness for me.
How do you measure your success?
By the love of people, I guess, and admiration I'm getting. I mean, that's the reflection where I see it. I mean, success for me is when I was invited to Forbes. That's one of them. So it's all that. It's not money thing, and it's just like really achieving position, getting more sitting with people like you and getting more interesting people to my life, my business.
Getting more inspired.
Yes.
That's one of the most enjoyment thing I can ever do. Sit with people and brainstorm and be inspired. This is why I like to sit with the elderly people. They inspire me sometimes, most of the time. Success has different measures for me today, and success will have a different meaning for you every step of your life. In the beginning, you want to just make money. You think money is the success. Success and happiness is well-being today. You're healthy, mentally healthy, socially, financially. This is the most important thing. If you have the mental health, which unfortunately a lot of people lack it today, but if you have the mental health and mental ability, that's the most important thing that you can be happy about. Obviously, physical health too. This is how I measure success. Mm-hmm. Keeping these always, on a good term. Keeping it, keep everything healthy for myself. So that's happiness for me. Happiness being with people. They inspire you. They give you a different perspective. Because sometimes we think about every single thing from one angle, and you need this person who will give you a wake-up call to look at the world from a different perspective. It will look much better. It's just like, when you're watching a soccer field, if you change your seat, you will see it much better.
Yes, of course.
And that applies on life.
And we miss the family, and that's why I said my part is not ideal, because all my happiness is in work and friends as well, which is a great part. But the family, I would say, also is a success, but it's not easy to always succeed in that part. I mean, to have the balance between business and family.
Definitely not. I face this all the time. Definitely not. There's only 24 hours a day, and people with big dreams, they cannot sleep. I barely catch any sleep. Everybody knows me personally. He knows I do not sleep. Like, catch 2, 3, 4 hours a day. I nap a lot, but I don't really go for a deep sleep, like 6, 8 hours, 10 hours. I can't do it. I can't afford it. In another term, especially when you're dealing with family, jobs, businesses, work, and a lot of other things. I would say America give you complete different perspective when you go there. Things here go, I'm not talking about Dubai, but I'm talking about the Middle East. Things go slow. Things go on a different timing. In America, you're always on a run. You're always on a new trend. You're always on a new project, and you have to be fast. So, one of other things, people want to be successful, and they want to be fast. They want to be successful, strong, connection. One of my friends told me this, and it's very nice things. He teach me actually during boxing training. He said, everybody wants to be strong and successful. Look at the bullet. Is the bullet strong? I said, yeah. I said, if you look at individual bullet sitting on the table, it doesn't do anything. The bullet can only be strong when it's fast and effective.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're fast and effective for the target, then you are strong. If you put the bullet on the side, it has no value.
Mm.
Same thing with us. You can be capable of doing a lot of things in your life, but if you don't use it quickly and accurately, you won't achieve anything. You technically have no value. Same thing with a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
So I always think about myself. How can I be fast on acting on something? And how can I be effective to reach my target?
And it's great to have a target. I mean, I would say the best thing is to have a target. And some people, they miss that, you know, and just to be in the arena, fighting, that's the importance, regardless if you are failing or trying. It's okay to fail and try. I heard like for the first time I heard like the word sin means when you miss the target, you actually sin. I mean, it's a Greek word. So it's very important to have a target and aim on it. And imagine if you miss the target, you have a sin. When we in the religion we call it خطيئة, but it means the target, which is really really strong.
سنة كاملة من التحضير، فريق عمل متخصص واستوديو كامل تجهز لأول وأكبر بودكاست ماستر كلاس بالوطن العربي، وأكيد باللغة العربية. ماستر كلاس بيتعمق خطوة خطوة بتصميم البودكاست، من الفكرة للتنفيذ، إن كان من خلال اختيار الضيوف، كتابة الأسئلة وفن الحوار، لاستخدام المعدات الهاوية والمحترفة، بالإضافة لكل باقي المهارات التقنية مثل تصميم الإضاءة والديكور وفن المونتاج وهندسة الصوت. أكيد أساليب النشر واستراتيجيات التسويق لكسب الأرباح. بمجرد تفتح أحاديث مشوقة وممتعة فيك تصير سكسس ستوري. أنا حكمت وهبي وهيدا الماستر كلاس لإلكم.
You said about Dubai and you said not Dubai, the Arab words. Do you see Dubai as fast as USA in terms of people are actually ambitious, moving fast, and they have a dream? Do we have the Dubai dream?
Dubai is more than a dream. Dubai is a reality. I love this city a lot. When it comes to Dubai, I become speechless. I don't know what to say. It's probably the most or the healthiest environment you can have if you know what you're doing. A lot of people will fail. This is not for anybody. And, you know, I get into discussion with people and they tell me, oh, someone is extremely motivated and someone extremely, you know, discouraged, or he doesn't want to. Dubai is not meant for everybody. It needs a unique people. This is not America. America takes everyone, and only the successful will make it. Dubai is not designed like this. Dubai is only designed for true entrepreneurs, true scientists, true hustlers, people who wake up every day to achieve something. If you want to come for a holiday, come enjoy it. Pack your stuff and go back home.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not for you if you cannot start something. You need to be skilled. You need to have the clarity, the judgment, which we talked about earlier. If you don't have the judgment and the clarity, you will never succeed here. But if you do, you really will make it big. That's my opinion on Dubai.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that. I mean, it's a great place growing. We just need to believe that we have a city, and that it's maybe just because it's young, we don't have the belief enough. I mean, we always think of USA because it's just also old. It's been investing a lot on the image as well. But as Arabs, I mean, now when I came to Dubai, I came 25 years ago, you know, so like long time ago. And we always still compare. I want to go to Vegas. I want to go to LA. I want to go to New York. But then listen, I'm living in a city that's really as good as New York, as LA, you know. It's just a matter of time. It's still young.
If you're a serious businessman, and if you really think about achieving your goals, Dubai gives you every element you need to succeed. There is no excuse. If anyone comes and tell me, hey, I failed with the project or I didn't do it right, has nothing to do. The city gives you every element. Everything they do here is super regulated.
Mm-hmm.
It's done with care and attention to details. There is no place for failure unless you're not skilled enough or you didn't do your due diligence enough. I've seen a lot of major investors, major developers, you know, they had challenges, but they overcome them. I mean, I can name you multiple developers here, you know, in my field in real estate. They had a lot of challenges, but they were able to overcome them because Dubai give you the element. The American market is different. It's eat or you get eaten. You know, even if you're skilled, we talk about the president, Donald Trump, you know. I heard his story. I don't know if you know about it. One time he was in debt of 900 million. So he was walking with his friend and he told her, you see that beggar on the side of the road? And she said, yeah. He said, do you know that he's 900 million richer than me? And she looked at him. She said, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Like he's a beggar? He looked at her again and he said, this beggar, at least he's at zero. I am at minus 900. So USA market is completely designed differently. And if we want to go into the business mind, you have to understand business, it's numbers, it's a language. If you want to succeed, if you're an entrepreneur, you know, if I'm just speaking to an entrepreneur who's got projects going on, the most important element to your project is knowing the numbers. Numbers is the strength to succeed in every project. If you don't have the number analysis, you will not be able to succeed. A lot of people, you know, they have great idea. We can do this. You still have to go back to the numbers. You still have to go back to the data. If you don't have them, and if you don't even understand the language of the numbers, because everything in this world has a number. So I think this is one of the most important thing. And Dubai gives you all the numbers you need.
So your friend with Trump's, I've seen picture you and Trump, and are you happy now that he's been elected as a president?
Absolutely. I met him once. I learned a lot from him. I read about his books. I see his strategy. I see his positive and his, you know, every person has a weakness and some of his weakness. But could you imagine his return? You know, I have a lot of friends. I used to tell them back in 2020, oh, Trump is gone. They used to tell me, even Lebanese friend, Trump وترجع أيامه. I said, he's coming back. They wouldn't believe me. Can you imagine how this man feels? I mean, you're talking about defeat. We talked about failure. This man came back after everything happened to him. They tried to indict him. They tried to arrest him. They tried to kill him. Regardless of the politics, regardless of any opinion you form, just look at the situation. How can anyone make me any excuse about himself? Look at this man. This is why I tell any of the people around me, don't make me an excuse. Tell me look at this. Look how he succeeded again. I mean, it's so inspiring.
Even after everyone was bullying or they draw a picture about him. And it's like, so for us, when in his first election, it's like how American elected that person, because the image was giving to us as a crazy man. It's just like, you know, because he talks whatever he think about, he talks it. He's very, very honest. I think the second time now people like saw the difference, and then now they believe in him more.
Look, the first time he won, I think was based. Trump is very skilled in languages. So he knows even if we speak the same language, if I talk with you Arabic or English, he can form the right language that he needs to speak to you today. And you will understand him really well. His communication is perfect. He was able to find the right communication, the right words. Even the words are not like super political or super formal. He found the right language to speak to the American, and they believed in him. Whether he's honest or not, he was skilled to find the right language. And he made it the first time. And unfortunately, a lot of people are uneducated enough to form an opinion. They hear one side, they never form. Even in today's time, I ask people, do you know what's the Federal Reserve? Oh yeah, it's a government. It's not a government. So there's a lot of misinformation happening. But he was able to find the way to communicate to everybody and tell them, hey, believe in me, I will make it happen. So the first time he was elected, because of COVID, it didn't happen. The second time, everyone was blaming him. But to come back, I mean, that was just a huge achievement.
Yeah.
I even wrote it on my book that I told you about. And I think he will do great. He will bring stability. At least, even the people that think of a Trump as an enemy, they still like him because he's direct. He will tell you the way it is, and that's what you need. You don't want somebody who, inform you something and then try to go around it. So this is the biggest advantage we have. And
Yeah.
I do really believe in his ability to bring the entire world back.
I mean, he's smart. He also, he was talking to the people, and he was using the media that the people loves. Like, I think him being on Joe Rogan podcast was very, very smart. Especially that the last years, nobody's now believing CNN and all this traditional media anymore. And him using that direct talk to the people was really a smart move from him, and made a big change.
One word I heard from Trump, and it was very important. He didn't look. He said everybody thinks America is a country. America is not a country. America is a business. If you look at America as a business, you will be able to win, and you will be able to succeed. Trump looked at the whole country as a business, and he said, it's a business transaction, and I'm going to win this. I'm going to negotiate. I'm going to calculate my moves, do my due diligence, and I'm going to win again. And that's why he won it. And when I heard it, I started going deep into his words. It's true. I don't look at America as a country. I look at it as a business. And once you have this mindset, you will be able to understand a lot. You'll be able to receive and perform more freely in America, which is excellent.
Yeah, I saw a post on your Instagram for Trump. He said he's at the first day in the office, he's gonna change the rules about transgender and we're gonna have only male and female in this country.
Right. I think this subject is,
controversial.
Crazy. Yeah, but we went way too far. I have my daughter. She went to school. She's 6 years old. First day in school, she came back and she said, Dad, the teacher asked me, do you want to be he or a she?
Oh my God.
What would you do? That was the last day for her in school. There were a lot of things happening in America. It was way too far. I have full authority on my child. You don't have full authority on my child. I don't want my child to be confused. You have a belief, good for you. You can have your belief, and it's up to you. That's your decision, but you cannot force your decision on me. This is one of the biggest challenges we had in the Middle East. Whatever is your idea, whatever is your religion, your belief, keep it for yourself. Once you stop forcing it on others, especially on children, it becomes a problem. Even my personal belief, I cannot force it on anyone's children or on anyone's life. So this is what Trump was trying to say. I'm going back to basic. I'm not fighting anybody, but we went way too far in this. And I think this is a good thing.
But why this movement became that strong? Because it's not, some part of it is totally not logical, with all the respect to anybody's whatever sexual identity, but why it went too far? Do you think it's something political as well?
It's an agenda, for sure. It's an agenda. Divide the people, make them confused. This is, we go back to my clarity. If you lose your clarity, you become confused. You don't know what you're really doing. You don't know what you're believing in, and this is very dangerous. It can take you to the bottom very fast. So I think it was political agenda trying to confuse the public and make them not aware of what's going on, showing them that it's a good thing, it's a new trend. And once you're confused, you're way far from politics. You're really far from any decision. Unfortunately, the Democrat Party was trying to pro this a lot, so they gain more followers, they gain more supporters.
It's a very far left idea, which is like the identity, group identity.
Yeah. But I think Trump is going to fix this very quick. I mean, now if you want to book an airline ticket in the States, you get like 22 different gender. I mean, if my kid is asking me, what is this? I have no answer for him. So if someone believes in it, okay, great for them. They can keep it for themselves. I just don't like it to be forced on others. And I think it's a good thing what he's going to do.
Yes. What are the benefits for us as in Arabs, as in the Middle East? What do you think?
Two things.
We're going to benefit from Trump?
Number one, stability. Number two, Trump Tower.
All right. Yeah.
No, stability is number one.
Are you involved with that?
I wish. I'm going to try. I really want to. I think it's the time for the Middle East to thrive. We've been closed and isolated for way too long. I think we've been scammed for way too long. And it is time to wake up. What's happening today is a great thing for the entire Middle East. People deserve to learn before earn. I mean, unfortunately, you know, I look at Syria, where I came from. It's my beloved country. The people have been tolerating such a poor environment, isolated. It's not only financially. I mean, your basic element, you don't even have your basic element.
They killed their dreams.
There is no not dream. They killed lives. And this is very important today. These people deserve to have life. They deserve to think. They deserve to learn. You don't need to wake up today in the morning and think, how am I going to eat? You should be waking up today and say, what am I going to achieve? I have a big hope. I'm always a positive guy. I think things now is going in the right direction. My beloved city, second city, is Lebanon, Beirut. Unfortunately, I haven't been to Syria for the past almost 18, 20 years. And it's the time to go see it. And I hope the people, all my people in Syria will thrive again. And I think a lot of business people, scientists, professors, they will head back to Syria, you know, just to invest in all the Syrians.
And you've been very optimistic about Lebanon and Syria.
Absolutely. I would bet my net worth on this. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, it's the end of the world. Oh, it's what's going to happen. We're going to get invaded. No, it's not. I mean, you need to think positive way to be able to achieve. I mean, I hear from all of them, oh, you see what happened? Oh my God, it's the end of the world. No, it's not. You've been in the end of the world for the past 50 years.
Exactly.
It's today the time, you know, to get back up again. And I think they have the opportunity. I have trust in them. They will make it. I don't think they will miss on this opportunity. It comes once in a lifetime. Every person has an opportunity once in a lifetime. If you take advantage of it, it's great. If you don't, it's a problem. But I do believe the entire region is going to change, and you know, people are going to thrive again. They're going to be happy about, you know, building more businesses, bringing more entrepreneurs, having more hospitals, medical facility. I mean, I haven't seen any good one medical facility in the Middle East so far. I feel terrible, but I'm hoping the new shape of the Middle East will be much better.
Yeah, I hope too. And I have that belief. I mean, what worse going to happen? I mean, it's already, we've been living in hell in Syria and Lebanon.
The worst already happened.
Already happened, exactly. But they keep you thinking that the future is they keep you afraid from the future, so they keep you the way you are. But now, thanks God.
Afraid and fear. Fear does not prevent death. It kills life. That's my favorite quote. I never think about fear. My fear is only to God. But it's very important not to have a negative environment around you, and it's very important to stay away. No one knows the power of negative people. They can really destroy your life by a comment, by a word. Anyone that has these fears, I try to isolate, and I try to stay away. And this is what the majority in our region have to do the same. That always think positive. Don't say it's the end of the world. The end of the world happened 50 years ago. But I think there's still a minority of people that have this fear, and they won't count in the new calculation.
I mean, I've been to USA, and I've seen the majority of people think positive. They always have a dream. They always, look at you and tell you, you're great, you're doing wonderful. They use these words to motivate you, and I felt it there when I went to USA. It's something that sometimes working with Arabs, and I'm Arab. It's just like we're afraid to motivate people. We're afraid to give them the right positive words. I mean, not a lot. I don't want to be like should be some mu'ammim. Yeah. I mean, it's.
No, but you're right.
Right. I mean, why we are afraid of that? Like we're afraid to. He might take advantage. He might charge me more if I tell him you did a great job, And in USA, I went some for some shoots and photo shoots and this, and I had so much encouragement and positive and for free,
You're not in fear. They made you in fear. The environment of the Middle East back in the days, I ran away. Just to tell you the truth, أنا هربت. I ran away from the environment because you're set up for failure. You're not set up to succeed. The only way you're going to succeed if you are a scammer. Bas. It's almost impossible. You either inherited a lot of money from your family, or there is no way for you to thrive from the bottom. It's not like a rock bottom and you're trying to climb the ladder. No. They build the fear in every single person. That's why the majority are always fearful. Oh, it's not going to happen. They're always... no, this is not going to happen. This project is bad. We're not going to make it. No, the mentality has to change. The best thing I saw in America, they're always happy. They have the basic element. I mean, it gets emotional to me when I talk to any of my relative friends in Syria, Lebanon. And I try to change their mentality, but I see them, they're always in fear. But why I'm betting my net worth today? Because today they realize this fear is an illusion. I mean, think about Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Bilad al-Sham from long time. We're the oldest city in the world. I mean, everything came from this city. And I think everything will come back to this city.
Yeah, we always live in emergency in our head. We're always afraid, and we don't have a stability, and that's why you see some special people working multiple and have. We are smart because also, I mean, part of us is just like we need to work double,
right,
just to feel safe.
Right.
Because of that. We don't have a system. We don't have a medical system. We don't have you never know if you're going to live for tomorrow, because, I mean, we went through many wars. So we have that emergency in our head always.
I'm hoping this is all going to change. And I think when it's going to change, we're going to be number one in the world. We will. I've seen it happen in China. I've seen it happen in Japan, Germany. It's going to happen in the Middle East.
Yeah. I believe in that because we still have raw people, raw material. We have stories, we have tradition, we have everything.
We have a core, something called in Arabic al-futra.
Yeah,
not a lot of people have it. So the core of the people of the Middle East will come back again. I do believe. I've seen a lot of friends. One of my friend, TV presenter on Al Jazeera, Ahmed Fakhouri. He's one of the most skilled people in making any statement in enunciation in Arabic. And I admire the way he speaks. I admire his tune. This person tolerated the worst thing can ever happen to anybody. He was losing his daughter, his family, ending up in jail, trying to run away, just because he was from a certain city in Syria. Today, he's one of the most successful TV presenter from BBC. He's categorized as a talented in Al Jazeera. And I was looking at him and I was trying to understand why this man was not as successful as he is today in Syria. And the number one reason, I think they need freedom from the fear that they created for everybody there. And this is what Dubai did. I mean, UAE, they gave freedom to their people. They supported them. I have a lot of friends from UAE in where I live. We have a university called Embry-Riddle. It's an aerospace engineer and flying school. It's number 1 rated in the world in Florida. So I see a lot of people coming from UAE, from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, mostly the UAE and Qatar. And some of the people are very well connected here, but they seems very humble and they're always at their home studying. And I've asked one of the people and I said, I'm shocked. Like, I mean, I just found out who's your dad, but you're always at home studying. You know, you don't drive fancy car. And he looked at me, he said, yeah, I cannot. And I said, why? He said, I have something called amana. And I said, okay, what was this? He said, our sheikh, he invested in us. He gave us a blank check to go to the States and to learn in one of the best universities. And all what he's expecting in return is one thing. I said, what is? And he said, knowledge. See the mentality between creating fears for somebody and between advancing someone, giving him anything he wants. Just bring me one thing, knowledge. Knowledge is power. And that's why these people are powerful today.
تخيل يكون عندك منصتك، يعني التوك شو تبعك، ومن خلاله قادر تخلق جمهورك وتوصل محتوى برؤية مستقلة تماما. ضيف ورا ضيف بيوسع نطاق معارفك بشكل هائل، بيفتح لتجارتك آفاق كبيرة، بيبني علاقات مهنية ما بتتوقعها. ولكن الخطوة الأولى هي الإيمان بنفسك وعدم مقارنة حالك بأي أحد. أنا اليوم بودكاستر وكتير عبالي شارككم جمال ولذة هيدي المهنة. أنا حكمت وهبي وهيدا الماستر كلاس لإلكم.
I've seen you around so many famous people. John Travolta, you have a picture with him?
Oh, yeah. I actually purchased his house.
Really?
Yeah. He used to live in a flying community. It's community designed, has a private airport, and you know the house is built around the terminal. Each house has a hangar where you park your plane and go to your home attached to it. So John Travolta used to live in this community, but his plane was massive. And you know, he asked the community, he said, look, I will invest to make the terminal a lot bigger. But you know, I can't land every day here. So the people said, no, we're getting annoyed. Your engine is too big. I think he has two planes, I guess.
One
of his biggest plane was A380, I think. A330 Airbus. And it was massive and the engine is too loud. And all the people who live there are, you know, pilots, entrepreneurs. So they got annoyed and they told him, we're going to restrict you from landing here. And they did. And he was John Travolta. I mean, imagine these things happen in the Middle East. And he was forced at the end to sell his home and move to Ocala, which is about an hour and a half away from us, and buy another home. So we end up buying his. And it was great things.
No, that's nice.
That's how I got to see him. I didn't know, you know, I saw something in the market. I said, okay, we'll go try it. We go look at it. I looked at it and I saw a lot of pictures. I thought someone who admired John Travolta, I would like the actor.
So did you keep things the way they are?
He left few things at home.
Okay.
But he took the majority.
Oh, right.
But he left few things, yeah. He's a nice guy. I mean, we don't stay in touch very close. We just send, you know, Merry Christmas, stuff like that.
He went through things with his wife with cancer because he believes in Scientology. And I heard this something big in USA. I don't know, like I've been reading about it. Tom Cruise, as he's the
lost
face
his son. John Travolta was the guy who lost his son, I do believe. Yeah, I didn't dive into Scientology too much.
What's that? It's like a religion or something. Yeah,
it's kind of a belief. Maybe Jasmine can give you more information. I didn't dive into it. I found it a little bit freaky. So I said, you know what? I'll keep it on the side. Let me keep my belief.
Yeah,
you know?
Okay.
My belief is working quite well. So let me keep my belief. But they are Scientologists. There are a lot of people Scientologists in the US.
they don't believe in medicine. This is their main thing.
They believe in such a spiritual, certain things you can do, and you expect things in return, which is quite, I couldn't understand it well. It was a little bit difficult for me. But he is Scientologist, and I know he lost his son. There's a lot of misinformation as well about how he lost his son. Some people say, "Oh, he voted his son, or he gave away his." No, I think it was just an accident. But he is Scientologist.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything spiritual.
Are you spiritual? I mean, as a businessman working with numbers, sometimes they don't go together. I don't know.
Every single person has to be spiritual. If you're not spiritual, you're dead. I mean, you're basically element of two: your body, the physical, and your soul, which is the spiritual. You feed your body every day. You eat every day. You go to the gym, exercise, build a strong body, strong mind. How do you feed your soul? Everyone works differently. I found my way, my spiritual way. I am a believer in God, and I'm not a believer in God from a family. I came from, kind of conservative family back home in Syria. But when I grew up in London, I became atheist. And I said, there is no such a God, and catch the trend and went into universities and studying until one time I had a wake-up call. And that wake-up call made me go too deep into my thinking. I was sleeping in my car. I still remember this day till today, in a place called North Acton in London. And I woke up early morning. It was so cold. I had to turn my car on and leave the heat on. And I was looking through the window and looking at the sky, and I started thinking. And I reached a place in my head where I recognized the existence of God. And once I had it, I said, okay, I will be always blind believer. I will never go back. I will never build a doubt. And since that day, these things has been helping me tremendously. When I go into discussion with anybody about the existence of God, they tell me, give us proof. I don't have proof to tell you here's God or show you a picture, or there is no way. But there is one way, logically, you can prove the existence of God, which is, I actually heard that from Tate. Everything in this life has an opposite power. Every power has an opposite power. You cannot prove the power of God, but you can prove the power of evil. You see a lot of evil things around us. If you see and acknowledge the power of evil around you, you must have the power of God, which is the opposite power. That's how you became a believer in God. Every person has a different way of believing. I don't go and follow a person. I'm not a guy who just listening. Sometimes some people, they need the sheikh or the khuri, or they need someone to guide them. Just like when you go to school, you need someone to teach you how to exercise. It's great, but for me, it didn't work out. I had to go and I had to be careful not to fall into any type, because if your coach in the gym is not quite experienced, he can break your arm. He can, at least give you like a bad muscle injury. So you have to be careful with your teacher, because, you can go into a different direction, especially with the spiritual, especially with the believing in God. These things has to stay between you and your soul. If you want to find out, you can go do your, reading, you can dive into it. But it has to stay isolated from others. No one get into my spiritual life. It's just for me.
It's yours. Yeah, you said two things, which is interesting. Sleeping in the car while you were sleeping in the car, and Andrew Tate. We talk about it.
I told you, life put you in challenges, and you have to be ready for it. It was one of the biggest challenge back home, back in London. I made terrible decisions. They led me, actually not terrible decision. I made emotional decision, which led me to areas where I didn't like it at all. And I had to bear the consequences. I couldn't even go to my brother's home. But you know what? I appreciate the experience, and it was one of the best things ever happened to me. And it gave me the mental power on rebuilding and restructuring my entire life. Don't look at anything bad happen to you as a bad thing. That's what I learned in my life. Look at everything bad happen to you as a motivation. There is one phrase, I have it in the middle of my office. Everybody comes to my office, they see the statues falling down. You know about them going up and down?
Yeah.
And I have a saying. I have it in Arabic and I have it in English. It says, I will never give up until I reach. وَلَنْ أَبْرَحْ حَتَّى أَبْلُغْ. This is very important. So you meant to fall, you meant to fail, and it's okay. But you have to stand up again. So this issue that happened to me in London, where it led me to sleep in my car, it was honestly one of the biggest things that made me who I am today. It gave me the mental power, the strength to say, I'm going to make it again. This is life. You go up and down, up and down. Just don't take it too personal whenever you have any bad time.
I mean, I'm trying, or we are trying not to be emotional. I mean, but we are emotional, especially as Arabs, we are emotional. We shake hands, we give words, we like somebody, we just like, I know in business you have to be like...
I am an emotional guy. No, I'll tell you the truth. I am emotional, but I don't make decisions based on emotions. Because most of the time you make your decision based on your emotion. This is when the decision become a bad decision. It has to be calculated on numbers and logic. 1 + 1 = 2. That's why Americans succeed in a lot of things. They always judge things based on logic and numbers. If we're talking about successful American, you have to be emotional. You know, it's part of us, but don't base your decision on emotions.
But I can see sometimes giving a word to somebody, which is kind of emotional when you promise somebody. I mean, it's not a contract. There's a promise, and when you do a good thing to me and I remember it and I give it to you back later on, it's just keeping a word. It's emotional. I wouldn't say that's logical, you know, and it's kind of nice to, and it might make a good deals and good business in life when you have that part.
You might be talking about integrity. If you're talking about integrity, yes, I'm nice to everybody. I give you my word. I try whatever I can to deliver my word. But sometimes life put me under so many pressures where I can't do it. This is why I don't make scheduled people. It's very important for me, because when you are on a, I don't want to say on the top, but if you are on a different scale of businesses, time zone changes. My time zone is completely different than their time zone. They might be on a couch, laying down, or they came back from work. And to tell you the truth, I lost a lot of people around me due to this reason, because their time zone is different. They will never understand the time zone I'm going through. They never understand how fast I'm going in many things. You might be sitting on a couch, expecting a call. Oh, you haven't called me, or how can you do this? It works different time zone. So time zone is one of the biggest issue I faced, and lost some of the people around me because they will never understand my mentality. And my mentality was so essential to make me go in where I am, for my dream, for my achievement, for my project. They tell me I come to Dubai almost between once to twice a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of travel.
Just in the past, probably 3 months, I went to Doha like twice. I came to Dubai 3 times, went to Cairo once. I do a lot of traveling, and simple person cannot understand that. He cannot acknowledge it. So it became like a wall between us. And this is why I had an issue. Even I was telling Jasmine today, I said, I don't know what to do with my time zone. People always expect expect me to be on a call with them, or to talk to them, or to be around them. But I don't have enough time, and they will never acknowledge that. And this is one of, as I said, biggest challenge I'm facing.
you said many times Jasmine. Jasmine is your wife, and we met both of you in Forbes Women Empowerment. Tell me how you met Jasmine, and what does she mean to you as a strong woman and an influencer talking in Forbes about women empowerment?
You know, earlier I told you I'm speechless about Dubai. I should be saying I'm speechless about Jasmine. I gotta
Tell me
give
the truth. I know she's here.
I gotta give you the short version of our life or how things happen. My brother is a doctor in the US, and when I was in the UK, he asked me to come and visit him. So I went there, visit my brother. My mom, she used to live with him. And he said that we have a relative to your dad, like third cousins or something, and we got to go and see him. He's like half an hour away. So, okay, he invited us over. Went there, my father-in-law and his wife and his kids, and Jasmine was one of them. She was 16 years old at the time. We never had one word together. We never said hello to each other. And then I left that time, went back to London, and 2 years later, I get this strange text message on Facebook. And, hey, Tarek, I'm Jasmine. Do you remember me? We met in Florida. How are you doing? We're related, so far related. And I said, I'm doing good. I was in Thailand at the time. I said, I'm good. I'm, in Thailand doing some training. And she started, every time I tried to close the dialogue, she opened it back up again. We started talking more and more and more. I sensed that she was type of a wife material, which I liked a lot. And we started talking for 3 months. And then at one point, I told you I'm an opportunist guy. So when I find an opportunity, even if it's in China, I'm going for it. I said, you know what? I'm going to go try it. This woman looks, like she has all the element to be a wife material. And this is what I needed. I told you I lost my dad 2 years old. I want to create family. I want to have kids. I wasn't that type of a guy. I always want to go out or have girlfriends. I was far from that. So I called her on the phone, and she started playing some games with me. And she said, I just went to university, and my dad, traditional Arabs, he want to introduce me to this guy. He's studying to be a doctor. I said, well, tell your dad I'll be landing in Florida within 24 hours. Flew to Florida. I called my mom on the plane. I said, Mom, I'm arriving. I'm coming to visit you. She said, wow, I've been waiting for you. I haven't seen you for a year. Finally, like, how come? I said, I'm coming. So I arrived. She picked me up from the airport, went to my mom, knocked on the door. She opened the door and she saw me and Jasmine. She said, what's she doing with you? I said, relax. I just got to know her. I met her. And at the time, my mom said, you guys have to... we have to have sort of engagement, but we can't, this is the tradition. So she called her mom immediately. Same day, I just arrived. And she said, this is what's happening. My son is seeing your daughter. She's here. He just arrived and she just came over. And, typical Arabs arrangement. She said, we want to talk, and they might get engaged. So I had my situation in London. I had, I was working in London, very sensitive job with, big security company. And I wasn't being able to leave overnight. So I told Jasmine, I said, listen, I need to go back. We can have an, engagement event, but I have to go back to London. And I don't know when they're going to let me go. My job wasn't by time, but I had a huge contract with the government. I can't just cancel it and move. So when I went back to London, they told me, I said, I'm getting married. I want to move to the States. And my boss at the time, who was member of parliament, he said, okay, congratulations, but just to let you know, you're not going to leave until a year later. Oh my God, 1 year. So I called Jasmine. I said, listen, you can come over. I'm not going to be able to leave London. So within this year, she comes to me. I go to Florida most of the time, every other month. And after 1 year, this is where it becomes interesting. So if you are a British citizen, you can't be married and go to America. You can go as much as you want, but once you get married, you can't go. You have to file documents. So I arrived to America, and I can see Jasmine frustrated. She said to me, I can't take it anymore. You keep going and coming. I want to do something. I said, I'm sorry. My phone rings. I have to go back to London again. So one time she came to me and she said, I was on the phone. She said, can you look at the computer? I said, what? She said, is your information right? Looked at it. I said, yeah, what do you want? I'm busy on the phone. She said, is your date of birth right? I said, yes. Your passport? Yes. What do you want? She said, can you just press here? I pressed the button and she said, congratulations, we are married. I said, what? She said, that's it. We are married today. We got to go pick up our certificate tomorrow from the county. I said, oh my God. I got married without knowing. And this is a true story. I mean, everybody around us knew about it, family-wise. What happened is I couldn't leave America anymore. Because once you're married, you can't leave the States. I got locked for a year. I couldn't move anywhere. I couldn't travel. I had to wait until I, finalized all my paperwork. So that was the beginning. But that was the best decision I've ever made. She blessed me with 4 kids. She always encouraged me to succeed. She always encouraged me to succeed. And she gives me what I lacked in my childhood, which was great. Even my mentor and my partner, he's one of the most successful business people in America. He tells me, he said, you guys, I don't invest in you, Tarek. I invest in both of you. And if we're going to sit down and talk about Jasmine, we're going to have hours and hours.
She's a strong woman. She married you, which is
she
great.
Did.
Sometimes you need that push, as a man, because you be focused only on business and this. And
she always gives me that push that I need in anything.
In life.
Yes,
and that's that part that they have as women, and which is, I find that the big value they have. A difference between male and female is that the part that they give, that they are the emotional part that sometimes we feel in the corporate world is missing, or we don't need it, but it's actually we need it, and because they give a different value than a man. Maybe not. That's why always I talk about the opportunities that we need to have, both of us as a male and female in life, but not to be compared apple to apple. Is to look what is the value that woman holds and what's the man's value.
Shall I tell him how I made the decision to get married? So it was one conversation.
You didn't make the decision.
Are you married?
I'm divorced.
Okay. Well, I've been divorced once before, so it's not a big deal. That's why I told you. And that's why I slept in my car. So I'm going to tell you why usually I always try to make the mistake once. And I try to avoid it the second time because I have no excuse. So the decision I made with Jasmine, it was based on one conversation that it took almost 45 minutes. And during that conversation, I explained how is our life going to be structured. I'm not a guy who doesn't believe in women or say a woman has, no. And at the same time, I'm not a believer that man and woman are equal, because we're really not. Male and female have a different physiology. And the way I told Jasmine, I said, look, you have a lot of things to bring to the table. I cannot. And I have a lot of things to bring to the table that you cannot either. I can't fight you. You got to look at our life is like an airplane. I am the pilot and you're the co-pilot. I cannot take off with a plane without your existence. But at the same time, whenever we are flying, you have to understand the pilot make the last decision. We can talk about the way, the plan, how we're going to take off, how we're going to, take the plane left and right. But at the end of the day, the pilot, you have to understand this is not like a fight match. I'm not going to fight you here. And I might make a mistake. You have to correct me. And when I told her the story, I see the acceptance. And this is how I made my decision that, okay, now she understood. And now she can realize that this is not a boxing match. This is not to prove I'm better than you or you're better than me. It's actually an airplane. We're trying to take off with it. And I need you and you need me as much. So once these roles are understandable for both, your life will be much simpler. There is understanding and compromising from each part. I am not the best guy. I do major mistakes too. But once you have the acceptance and you have the understanding and the clarity, you can overcome a lot of challenges in your life with your partner. Just like my partner at work. We have too many difficulties. We face a lot of issues, but we have to work together to solve them. Finding the partner is very important. Finding the wife material and making sure she is mentally healthy is very important too. Because if you don't have a happy wife, I mean, your life will be miserable.
Definitely.
But Jasmine and I started from the bottom. Just to let you know, I didn't come from a rich family. I didn't have money in the bank. I mean, I had just enough to support myself a little bit, but I never had like a lot of money. I started from my family's home, or actually my brother's house in America. That was the beginning. It was good things, and sometimes it was a bad thing. It was a good thing that always gave me the motivation to build and prove myself. But sometimes when people look at you, okay, he made it, it kind of build in jealousy, which I told you in the beginning. I tried to avoid it, and I never get jealous from someone I should be learning from. So that's pretty much my life with Jasmine.
أول ما ابتديت بودكاست كنت كتير موتر. تعرف ليش لبست الكاب؟ حسيت إنه عم تعمل لي حماية. كنت عم تخبى فيها.
القرارات اللي ما بناخدها بحياتنا بنندم عليها.
بس هلأ صارت اللوك تبعي. الخوف بينبع من عدم المعرفة، وأي شيء بالحياة فيك تتعلمه. رح أعلمكن كيف تعملوا بودكاست أحلامكم. بس تتخطى أول حاجز خوف ورح تحس حالك إنسان جديد، وهيدي بتكون أول خطوة للنجاح.
السعادة اللي بتلاقيها أنت وعم تسعى للنجاح، هاي أنا اللي بحس هو مصدر الرضا.
أنا حكمت وهبي، وهيدا الماستر كلاس لإلكم.
Yeah, we have with this tradition, I believe like you kind of get married as a traditional marriage, I would say, because people takes more time and they want to go out and they want to live like 2-3 years together and experiment each other, and this is how it's done in Europe and in USA. So you kind of took it the traditional way.
I'll teach you something. Do you know why it was tradition? What's tradition? When your family finds you a wife, is that correct?
Yes, or you just get married before you have a relation living together.
Look, I'm not saying it's a right thing. Traditional marriage is not the best form or the best method to get married. But do you know why back in the days they used to do traditional marriage? Because the male most of the time make a bad decision, and the female makes a bad decision too. They're not experienced enough. So that's why the family, the mother makes all her due diligence. The father makes all his due diligence. He talk to him, he see his mentality. Same thing with mother. So traditional marriage is not terrible thing. It's just not the right method for today's world. It's not the right method for today's time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. If you are qualified to find the right woman, perfect, go for it. Sometimes people don't have this qualification, so they go to their mother.
100%.
But it's very important to know that you're going to marry this woman. You have to make the decision, and you have to stick to it. And you have to do all, just like when I go do any due diligence on any project. Am I doing the right steps, checks and balances? And once you have everything structured right, don't have fear. I've seen it within my family, immediate family. Everything's great. Let's make a move. I can't. Why? I'm fearful. I don't want to do it. I don't want to wake up and find the same person next to me every day.
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of, people think like that as well. Yeah. I mean,
what led them to think like that?
I mean, it's logic. How can you live with someone forever?
Have you ever thought, how can I live without someone forever? Think the opposite way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense as well.
You see, always go back to what led these people to think this way. You know,
I think it's a decision. I think if you believe in it, in things that you are actually making it happen, because there's ups and downs, and khalas, you believe, but you need luck. I mean, you need the right person. And you mentioned that mentally should be stable. Both of
Healthy
them. I mean,
mentally
healthy,
and physically
mentally,
and financially.
Maybe not financially, but maybe the background, maybe the education, all of that. But sometimes we do mistake and we go by looks or love or that part
That's when we become emotional.
Yeah.
I think it needs a tweak of every little thing. I mean, you have to have all the checks and balances in you know, you can't ask for the best of everything. There's always something going to be missing in you, in myself, in every person. It's wrong to judge every woman based on certain things, or it's wrong to judge the woman only on her minuses and not pluses. You have to balance. Balance is the key in everything. So, you know, she has to be, you know, like she has to be acceptable look-wise. I don't know if you heard Trump lately. He was talking to the judge, and the judge told him, you made a statement that you wouldn't, I'm trying to remember the word. She said, you made a comment that, oh, she wouldn't be my choice. And she took it
personal,
really personal. And he told her, well, that was my opinion. I didn't make a crime. I just said she wouldn't be my first choice. Yes, there is nothing wrong with that. I didn't insult. And Your Honor, as a matter of fact, you wouldn't be my first choice either. It was so funny.
Based on the looks or
he put it only on the looks. I think the mileage was too high. But when you deciding to get married, I mean, you have to have something of everything. She's not going to be the best person, just like when you have a partner. I mean, go partner with you and, you know, you might find things not acceptable or something you don't like. So it's fine if you find something you don't like. It's not fine if you find something not acceptable. But you have to work with your limit and you have to set your standards. But some people push the standard too high, so they don't have anybody next to them, which is wrong.
I mean, we were in the Women Empowerment Summit, and until when we should not be saying always women empowerment? When do you think we're going to reach to a point where we don't feel like women needs empowerment and we are equal? We maybe now men needs empowerment these days.
How do you empower women?
In workplace is different than in
general. How do you empower women? I've asked this question to multiple women. How do you get empowered?
I mean, we should always have a equal representation everywhere, have her own opinion said.
Do you think we have empowerment in the Middle East for women?
Not all, no. We still need to...
but
you mean equality? We don't have it 100%.
Not equality. Talking about empowerment.
I think it is empowerment is happening everywhere. I would say the social media and all the people talking about it is helping.
Recent studies, and this is what Andrew Tate talked about as well.
Your friend.
Yes. Recent studies showed in the US that all these women have been scammed. Be independent, be empowered, go work, wake up every morning, go do your job, come back. The only reason they schemed all the women in United States, and do you know why was the reason why they schemed all of them and tell them you have to be independent, and they give them this illusion, oh, I am independent.
Just to have more worker, more...
No, because they can pay more taxes. So that was one of the biggest reason why they created the illusion about independency and powerful. Go, you do the work. Actually, women in the US today are looking at themselves, say, why do I need to wake up and go work? I should have a husband. I will take care of my husband, and he should generate all the work and, you know, keep me healthy financially and keeping my physical health. I mean, the woman goes... The biggest empowerment for women, it came from God. He gives her the biggest power, which is delivery. She makes lives. I mean, I've seen Jasmine delivering. I was with her in a delivery room inside, and I've seen this miracle. I said, "Oh my God, this is the biggest empowerment that you can give any woman." She's creating lives. She's raising nation. You've been raised by a woman. I've been raised by a woman. This is the biggest empowerment. I don't believe that the woman can have any better job or any important job than raising nations, raising kids. Raising kids is very important. This is the most sensitive time in every human being. How you being raised the first 3 to 10 years. I don't believe a woman in the US serving coffee in Starbucks have a better job than a woman who's raising kids and raising generation. Do we agree on that or not?
Yes, if it's Starbucks, but the thing is, men, not all of them, of course, but they use that part, and then the woman will be maybe unhappy if she doesn't have the tools and the power or the option to be independent. Yeah, I mean that only on that part, I would say, yes, she might be happier at home, and if it's her decision to be a housewife, sitting at home, raising kids. But we need to always, give her the option in terms of education and some experience of work where she will have the option to, maybe she's not happy with this man and she wants to leave him. Financial independence will help the woman also be more stable with her husband.
So not having the option is a problem, and having the option today has made most of the women in the US realizing, oh my God, we're really being schemed here. Because they have the option in the US to go be independent, what am I doing? I don't want this. Because they don't have the option in the Middle East, it creates some sort of desire, or we want to go have it. I would rather go make Starbucks coffee. I would rather go do any job. I mean, some women are extremely talented and skilled in certain field, which is great. I mean, they can go and provide all their expertise or their skills or their talent. I'm not against that. But I think when a woman wants to create a family, she's more busy than any person with raising this family. Not having this option in the Middle East created the desire, I want to be independent. But once she has the option, like the US woman, she will realize, oh my God, this is not what I want. I want to wake up at home, be comfortable, have my husband. His hormone system and his physique able him to go and work and do, the hard work, the pressure, the stress, take all of that and provide. Me as a husband, my number one duty is to provide, to be a provider. I have to provide security. I have to provide financial aspect to the family. I am the provider. When the women provide different type of things. The women provide something that the man cannot provide. I cannot raise my kids. There is no way. I mean, I can help them, I can guide them, but I don't have the right not mental health. I don't have the right hormone system or hormone balance that will make me patient, will make me, no man would have this. I mean, it's very unusual. I'm not saying not all men, but probably 99%. They wouldn't have that patient or that hormonic balance.
That instinct that she has, yeah.
She's more expert. So we go back again. I mean, it's good for them. I give Jasmine all the options. She can do whatever she wants. I never limit her potential. But I think on her own, she found out, she helps me always at work. She made like tremendous progress in most of our projects. But when we had our firstborn, Alia, she realized slowly that her skills are more important at home than anywhere else, which was, I mean, this is what led me say, okay, now understand women don't want to have.
I mean, it's a 100%. It's a debate, and you have so many opinions. Even women, they have an really opposite opinion than what they want, like, because it's said like this. It's a part of a freedom for them. Right. I mean, I've interviewed here a lot of guests about Love is Blind, Habibi. It's a program. Love is Blind, and one of the girls, she was saying, okay, I need a provider. I need somebody who just like really pampers me and spend on me, and And
That's sponsor.
yes, I
That's
mean,
income
kind
provider.
of like she was looking for 100% support, but at the same time, and she was, I don't want to talk about her. I mean, we talked so many in the podcast, but
How can you?
it's against the feminists, but at the same time, all the feminists were supporting her in a way. So it's just like it's if you give the choice, I mean, what's really your choice?
If you give the choice, she would absolutely say, "I don't want to work one day in my life. I would be happy." She will even find herself more capable to raise kids and take care of her husband. That's real. Like, I mean, this is one of. And by the way, taking care of a husband is not a bad thing.
You know, Tarek, from I can see your intentions. It's good. And from an educated, successful man, I kind of accept that from you. But you need to, in a way, like some other people make a use out of that. You know, it's like, and that's why always I'm with supporting women to decide what she wants and to encourage her to be a successful businesswoman.
Do you know how many women I supported in my life? I support a lot of women.
Yes, I mean, I'm with both opinions. It depends how truly we want to empower women and give her the freedom and the choice to be to have the option to be a businesswoman or to
Let's
be
put it this
housewife.
way: rather than empowering women, we all want to say that. Rather than giving her an option, before an option, give her clarity. Give her pure judgment. Don't influence her judgment, whether taking her option out or giving her all the options. This is what I believe. That was my structure of my wife. I gave her judgment clear from any influence. You know, there's too many influences, family, friends, even myself. I always thrive to keep my woman clarity, my woman judgment super clear. Give her clarity for option. When she has a clarity, you'll be surprised. She will be this super woman. I mean, that's the biggest empowerment to any female. Give her clarity and pure judgment. Allow her to be herself. Allow her to make a decision away from influence.
Give her safety. Your friend Andrew Tate. I mean, people see him as a toxic masculine guy, and his opinion is totally. I mean, he was banned at so many places just because he's speaking, empowering men in a way that women felt he's against them.
I don't think Andrew Tate is against women at all. Absolutely not. I mean, I listened to him many times. Hopefully we're going to see him in January. I don't believe he's anti-women. I think people perception, they're forming their idea in a wrong way. Andrew Tate, and he's got nothing against women. All what he does, he try to support everybody to break away, even women, to break away from modern slavery, from the matrix world. A lot of people hear about matrix. What's the matrix world? Matrix world is when you are influenced to do something against your interest, which a lot of people do. Sometimes I've done it. You do it. A lot of people do it. Andrew Tate, all what he's trying to do, he's trying to bring men to be strong again, not to be emotional. He's trying to tell all male, this is what you're capable of. Stop being controlled. No female will look at you as a man if you're not a true man. This is my opinion. So he's encouraging all the guys, even the young generation, the boys, try to find your own way. Don't be deceived into the new modern world. You know, whether phones, TVs, game, and you have to break through. Otherwise, just to be honest, the woman will, I don't care how much the woman will love you. If you're not a successful male, she will never be in love with you. You will never have this acceptance. He never talked about anti-woman. He's trying to tell the woman how important her role in building this man. There's the biggest two things that can destroy Hercules are two things: women and gambling. if you have the wrong woman, she will destroy you. If you have the right woman, she will even push you further. So what Andrew Tate was trying to explain to everybody, you are the reason to create this man. I want you just to have the mental health. He wasn't talking to all women in the world, but probably his tune or his enunciation is strong enough or is super powerful. So it comes across aggression, just like Trump. Trump, the way he speaks, he's very edgy. He doesn't have the tune. He doesn't have the enunciation. I mean, I was trying to practice to keep my enunciation very slow here for the podcast. But these people usually, they're so fast in their thinking. So the way they spits the words out comes like across aggression. And I think this is the only thing that...
But it's nice. It's attractive to men in general, or to young men, and this is what they need. They need the empowerment.
I think majority of the men, they wake up with this way. When they hear somebody going that fast at them, they say it's like electric shock. Oh, now I'm getting up. I understand what's going on.
That's the language they want to hear.
He's a very humble guy. If you meet him in person, even Dan Bilzerian, people see him on Instagram. He's a very humble guy. They're not what you look at them in the social media. They're very nice. They're very smart. Oh my God, Andrew Tate, he's probably, if you have any dialogue with him, you'll see how inspirational he is.
I know, and I like Jordan Peterson also from that part of empowering men. And I think we, as men, we need that empowerment. We need to be really feel that the way we think, the way we are born, the way, as you mentioned, like our hormones, that's a natural thing. I don't think we should make a man less of a man to make him, equal. And this is something wrong. And whatever we talked about, that far left ideology that making, all genders equal, and it's just like, okay, have your own freedom, but the man is a man and a woman is a woman.
It's a straightforward.
Yeah.
You are created on this world to be successful, to have a challenge every day, but you're designed in a certain way that it's one of your duty to provide security to the female. It's one of your duty to provide, we talked about all of them, the mental health, the physical health, the financial health. That's your duty. In order to do them, you have to be more man, not less man. Otherwise this world will crush you. Imagine if Donald Trump was less man. Would he be re-elected again?
No.
كثير مهم انه نحن نلاقي المنتور تبعنا، نلاقي الشخص اللي ممكن يعطينا الفكرة او يوصلنا على بداية الطريق. انا عندي 4 سنين خبرة كبودكاستر، فرح اعلمكم كل شيء تعلمته بهاي الرحلة. كمان عندي 25 سنة خبرة بالتصوير وصناعة المحتوى. لكل حدا عنده شكوك وتساؤلات وحابب يعرف أكتر عن البودكاست، أنا رح حطه على بداية الطريق. لهيدا السبب غير الماستر كلاس خصصت جلسات 1-on-1. كلنا عنا شي نقوله، كلنا منحب نكون حدا. أنا حكمت وهبي وهيدا الماستر كلاس لإلكم.
But that image also, I don't want to confuse people, but because we were mentioning Andrew Tate and Dan Bilzerian, with that image of the man with the weapons and women around him, and
I don't have women around me. I do have a lot of weapons around me, but I don't have women.
You love weapon. I've seen an image in your Instagram with a big machine gun, which is kind of okay in USA.
It's very, people in the Middle East, when you tell them these type of things, they get scared. They say, they have that fear in their head that we talked about. But it's something very common, when you're licensed in the US. I have all my licensing and permits. I do own a tank.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something quite strange. It's just a hobby.
So you really like Dan Bilzerian?
Dan Bilzerian, yeah. Dan shot RPG, which was crazy. It's like a small missile. anti-tank missile.
How can you own a tank? I mean,
you can.
Can you license a tank in USA?
It's licensed and insured. It takes a lot of gas and it takes a lot of maintenance. It's not super expensive. And I actually bought it from auction, and I was able to license it. This is how free is America. Obviously, America it's huge and it's big. I can't drive it on the road. I get it privately transported, and within my community, I can have it in my home. I can have it in my farm. I do have partners that I invested with them on almost 5,000 acres for hunting season. So we go hunting most of the time, and I put it most of the time there. We just go drive it around. It's beautiful. But I did a lot of training. I like it. It's a hobby for me. Shooting, it's like a therapy. It teaches you, how you're aiming, how your breathing technique, how your insight, how you're thinking. It does involve some of your personal life every day. And one of the most important things is how to protect yourself. Learning how to defend yourself is not crime in the US. Most of the people here think if someone owns a gun, oh my God, he's an aggressive guy, or he wants, to make any problem. We actually own it to defend ourselves. Never had to use it on anybody. I never had to. I just, have it for a hobby.
I mean, when you're stronger in all aspects, you become more respectful, more humble. I mean, this is what man needs to learn, and this is where the confusion. I mean, being strong or empowering man, it's something that makes them more peaceful as well.
Absolutely, being strong is very important, and knowing how to defend yourself, because I told you you're going to be going through a lot of tests. So I think is essential for today's time. I'm talking only about America. So in America, everyone owns a gun. If you don't own one, it's a problem, because you never know when you use it. You don't use it, but when you need it, you really need it. So that's why
it's a big debate, to be honest. I mean, with the Trump, he's all the rights are with the guns in general.
Right. All the rights are,
and all the left are against that.
All the left are against it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a business as well.
It's a business, and it's selling a gun. How much is going to be? It's not that. It's profitable, but it's not that profitable on a scale where the president, trying to announce that we're going to keep this or we're going to take it. In today's time, weapon is so advanced that regular guns and weapon are really in the past. They won't make any difference. If let's say this again, if the average person today understand how advanced is the weapon system, you will never give any value to a regular gun or rifle. It's extremely advanced.
It's like and the AI has taken over. The intelligent, I would say, is more strong nowadays.
I've seen, I attended many convention, and I've attended many meetings about how they develop a new weapon system. It's scary. I mean, something with the size of your palm can fly out and can recognize your face and it's very small. It's not too big, and it can create enough damage in anyone's head and kill him. This is how scary it is. Without moving, you don't need to be close to the person. Drone is a big thing in today's time. So I believe that regular weapon became just for a hobby, or became, like a classic. It's not that major thing. That's everything about America. But when you come over, I'll let you drive the tank. I do have friends as well. They go on helicopter, so we'll definitely give you some excitement.
Is there some new technology that the government has that we don't know?
Absolutely. The government will always have technology that you don't have. Do you remember back in the days, the internet, when you used to hook it up through the phone system and it rings? So in that time, when you had beginning internet, they had something more powerful than an iPhone. They're always 10 steps ahead. A lot of people think about the war within, our world. If there is any kind of conflict that will happen in today's time, my certain belief, it will be in space. It will not be on the ground. The President Trump, he revealed one of the most powerful department within the army is called the Space Force, U.S. Space Force. This is only designated to fight in space. The war today is about data, is about information, and that's why you see Elon Musk, it's extremely advanced. One time I was sitting in my home by the fireplace, watching the lake, and all of a sudden I see like multiple stars shooting, and I said, is this a UFO? I didn't know what was that. So I called Jasmine, I called my kids, I recorded it on my phone. And then I called the authority. I said, what's going on above my home? It's really far in the sky, but you can see them in a pattern. They're going all behind each other. It was actually Starlink. He shot 65 satellite in one time. I mean,
Wow.
You're looking at this is extremely advanced. Probably Tesla is going to make one phone worldwide, work on a satellite very soon. So if there is any real conflict, when people talk about world war, it's going to be in space. It's not going to be on the ground.
I mean, that's why Trump loves Elon Musk, and he talked about the missile that was landed and it was hugged and catched, and he was so interested about it.
Do you know the story about Elon Musk when he wanted to create his first rocket?
No.
So he wanted to create his first rocket, and everyone shot him down in the US, and it was extremely expensive to build it. So he went to Russia. He went to the Soviet Union, and he had a meeting in the Kremlin to meet one of the highest general about, they're involved in aerospace. And he had his plan. He went on a commercial flight with his team, landed in Moscow, went to the Kremlin, walked inside this massive office, and he explained to the general. He said, "This is my plan. I want to build a missile. I need your assistance. Would you help me? I want to build a missile, but on a conservative budget." The guy took the file and threw it on the floor, and he told him, "You're stupid. Get out of here." Like, he thought the guy is crazy. So he went back to America, and all his team were defeated, and they told him there is no chance. He started with 2 mechanical engineers, and they built their first rocket. They were successful. And this is how Elon Musk started, had a passion for it. And he didn't limit himself. Obviously, he had other ventures like PayPal and other businesses, which helped him funding. But look at him today.
I mean, he can dream, his dream is like so big. And this is very important to have the ability actually to dream that much. And then you'll make it happen.
I don't think he has a dream. I think he has no limitation. One of the best phrases I hear, the sky is not the limit, the sky is the beginning. So he doesn't have a dream, he just doesn't have limitation. He will go as much as he can, as far as he can. And this is within every individual. They have to be the same. Go as fast as you can and as much as you can.
Yeah.
Until the last day.
Sometimes we limit ourselves because we don't believe that we can be that person or do that much, put that target, we always, because I believe if you really believe that you can get to any point, you will get there.
Right.
But sometimes you just limit yourself. It's like, it's not for me. We always say it's not for me. I can't do it.
So the biggest limitation I've ever had on myself was because of others. They talked to me with their negativity, and they made me believe I have limitation. The sky is the beginning. I have no limitation today's time. That's why when we sat down, I said, you can speak freely about anything you want. That helps me in the business too. No limitation.
So do you have a business in the weapon, or it's a hobby thing?
It's a bit of both. Yeah, we are partner in
what are your businesses? You're in the real estate, in are you in stock market, in the crypto? Do you believe in that as a
So crypto is a very sensitive subject, and when I ever intend to speak to anybody about crypto, their first question, Bitcoin, do you buy Bitcoin? So it's not the actual coin. These coins are not funded. It's great. I made money in Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is not regulated coin. So it's a trend. If you step at the right time, perfect. But you have to know when to step at the right time. If you step at the wrong time, you will lose. It's not the coin itself. It's the blockchain technology. Blockchain is not only involved in the financial sector. It's also involved in shipping. It's also involved in a lot of other fields that eliminate human error. That's the technology you should focus on. I do believe, and probably this podcast will witness, we're going through a major financial transition where the entire world is going to retire from a classic financial banking system. It's going to die. We are going to a major reset. There's a lot of conspiracy theory, but here there are facts where you can see the transition. And this is why the President Trump talked about it. He said, we're going to cancel all the national debt. Do you know what does that mean? $37 trillion in debt is going to be wiped out, which means we're going to file bankruptcy to clear all the debt. And the reason why, because we want to introduce the new digital currency. It's going to be one digital currency worldwide. It's going to be pitched in a very appealing way to the public. They're going to tell you your money will be secured. You'll have access to your money fast. No one can scam you. It's fully regulated. But then the government will be able to audit every penny you earn from the day you're born till the day you die. And all this auditing, it will happen in such fast way that it will be split of second. They can tell immediately. So we are going through transition.
But then they will lose the control of printing money. And let's say USA now have the control.
They already lost the control. We're at 37 trillion. There is no way. I'll make it simple. If you have a credit card today and you maximize your credit, if you are a bank and you have a certain assets, you lended your financial statement, you lended more money than you own. You are in a hole. And the way that Trumps think, and it's a famous saying, if you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you have to do is stop digging. Because the more you dig, the more you're going to go down. There is no way out of the US national debt except resetting the system. Major reset. The dollar is strong because of the army. It's strong because, the way we trade. But if we're talking about financials and numbers, which we talked about earlier, it has no backing. It's at a breaking point. So I think every government will push to eliminate currencies. Every government will push to have one worldwide currency. Digital currency. There will be no printing. There will be no typical banking. Even with a bank, the way I can transfer money to you is through SWIFT, which takes forever. It goes in too many circles. It goes too many auditing until it reaches your bank account. Whether you're a good guy or a bad guy or wanted guy, it still takes a lot of time. The blockchain, it eliminates anyone in between, and it eliminates any risk on who's sending and who's receiving. That's why they need the technology to come in. And unfortunately, all the banking will be out. While this transition in financial system, it might be a threat. It might wipe out a lot of businesses. It might, you got to look at yourself. Where am I positioned today with my business? Where am I positioned with my wealth? A lot of people want to create wealth, but the most difficult part than creating wealth is preserve the wealth. A lot of people don't know how to preserve it. They don't know how to diversify through a transition. It happened in 2008. It was real estate collapse. There is major other collapse happened in the past, 71. If you go back to the past and just read how they go through transition, you will understand today, okay, this is what I have to do. Are we going digital currency? 100%. Is the dollar going to die? 100%.
Wow. It's a matter of time only.
It's a matter of time.
But they're going to lose that control. That's my only point. They're not going to let it happen because, I know they are still digging in that, but they still have control on other countries that they force them to buy, not force them, but they can force them to buy in their currency and to keep it valid and have a value while they can still print. They're gonna lose all that. What's gonna happen to
Americans
USA?
are more strong than that. They understand today that power, restricting somebody is not the way to control them. If I put a chain on you, is not the only way I can control you. We've seen it in too many different fields. We've seen it in too many different countries. I can put a chain on you today, tomorrow, it will break. So they don't believe in the system anymore. They can control the currency in a different way without being interfered in or having $1 that you have to do it. Who cares about currency? It's only a paper.
Mm-hmm.
You can print it. You can look, stock market. And the way I tell them it's going to be major reset. Look at the stock market. Go back 20 years. Who was the biggest company in the stock market? It was General Motors, mostly automobile.
Mm-hmm.
They were in 100 million, 200 million, 500 million. Go back 10 years ago. The biggest company, Samsung, iPhone, Samsung, Apple, and they were in the billions. Look today's time. You have Amazon, Tesla. They're reaching the trillion. Okay, what's the next digit? You can't have a next digit. We're going up in technology. The stock is going to go higher, but we can't have the same. There is not enough digits. And that's what Warren Buffett said. There is not enough digits to value companies. You must have a major reset for the entire currency, or have a new currency so we can value things. And that's why I'm telling you, it's going to happen so fast. And it's going to take place. There is a lot of signs and there is a lot of isharat. We see them every day, which makes me believe it's going to happen. You just have to be diversified with your wealth enough to know how to maneuver through this transition. It comes one time in life.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be like a universal currency, which means China will adopt that, USA, all the countries.
This is the only thing I'm trying to predict, which is unpredictable. The only two nations that you don't see involved in any war today is China and America. They're smart.
They're smart and they know their powers as well.
And you cannot underestimate China. So until they sit down on a table and decide who's going to lead, they might get into a small conflict, small retaliation. And I'm happy to have President Trump. I think he has the business mindset to maneuver through this. I mean, we've seen talking about Canada, that he's going to make it 51 states. We've seen about Panama. These are small countries. I mean, he can maneuver, but he knows China is a different monster. I think he will be qualified how to maneuver with them or how to negotiate. But I still believe America will have the superior and leading the currency.
Do you think the collapse of the dollar is going to happen within Trump time?
It already happened.
Do you think that we're going to move to digital within that period of time?
Yeah,
4 years?
Within the 4 years, yeah.
Oh my God.
Maximum within the next 10 years, it will be no dollar. It will be no fiat currency anymore. I'm certain on that.
Do you invest in Bitcoin?
I do invest in Bitcoin. I have a small portfolio in Bitcoin. I hit and run because it's not regulated.
Yeah, but if you believe it's going to collapse, then what will happen to Bitcoin? It's going to skyrocket, isn't it?
It will be a replacement.
Like another currency.
Like it would be a once you have a regulated currency, investors always look at safe haven. They look at safe place to invest. They're investing in Bitcoin, but they still have the fear. They know it's not regulated. If you lose your Bitcoin today, who's going to pay you? Nothing. And one of the most important element is, how do you value Bitcoin? How do you value Bitcoin?
It's just
if you have one Bitcoin, how do you value
it's like a stock, yeah.
You value it by dollar. So the dollar is still dominating all the coins. When you replace the dollar, people will have the trust in the replacement. So if you have a digital dollar coming up, all this money will be shifted into a digital dollar. I don't think Bitcoin will last too long. Once this transition happens, I think it will fade eventually, because people will have new challenges. People always want to keep money away. They don't want to, show all the wealth they have. They don't want, government to know how much they have. So they will always look for an alternative way. And I predict that alternative way will be gold. It will be something you can physically touch.
Has an intrinsic value in it, but because the dollars doesn't have a value as well. It's just a trust. It's just something that a promise the US has given, and that's the value. And so in papers there's no value. It's the same thing as digital currency. It's just a promise, or just we agreed on that as people. But in the dollar, it's just the government told us that's the value. I mean, it's a paper.
It's a paper, but because everybody trade with the same currency, that's the powerful. That's the power. The powerful behind the dollar is the army support it. We have military base all over the world, and because everything has to be traded by the dollar, I don't know how to tell you this. It is a scam. The dollar is when I dived into currency and dollar and how. Do you know how the dollar was created?
No.
Okay, so they were a family. They wanted to find a way to trade because everything back in the days was gold or it was through bond. So they created the first Bank of England. And they used to play with the first Bank of England, and they used to scam people, sell bond, make stories, tell them someone coming to invade. And then they used to shift this money around, and then they get caught. So they moved to the US and they created the first Bank of America. That was the first bank created. And they were trying to see, we want to create something that we can give value to anything in the world. Painting, camera, mic, coffee. So they decided to create something called the dollar, which is backed by gold. And at the time, there were a lot of civil war in America, and the government needed some backing, financial support. So they were 5 families, created 5 banks, and created something called the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve, people think is a government entity. It's a private entity. They told the American government back in the days, we're going to support you financially. We'll provide for you all the financial needs to carry on with your civil war. The government blessed it. They liked it. Unfortunately, what I read and what I tried to research, they didn't really have enough backing. They didn't have enough gold. They just got away with their way, how to create the dollar and make everybody believes in it. Then they put the government in debt, and the government freaked out. They didn't know how to pay back, and they told them, look, we'll give you an idea. You're going to go and tax all the citizens and pay them back. And they can have to pay you certain fee, from their earning, and that's how you're going to pay us back the debt. Nothing in the American institution says, nothing in the American Constitution says that we have a tax. Do we have anything? We don't have anything in the Constitution. 0 that you have to pay taxes. They implement it to pay the debt. And then the Federal Reserve created 5 major banks: Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, 2 other banks, and they are in control. So today, if you make any mistake with your taxes, you get shut down immediately. You won't be able to buy a Starbucks coffee. You won't be able to use any of your cards. So that's how they created it, and they start lending the government money all the time, and the government go and collect taxes and pay the debt. That allowed them to create the debt system. The debt system is terrible. It really can put you in unfavorable situation. If you don't know how to use debt, it will destroy you. If you know how to use a debt, it will make you a billionaire, honestly. There is too many strategy, and that's when we talk about finance and we talk about the language of the numbers. We use debt all the time, but we try to be strategized in a way where we're not going to lose, because debt is very dangerous. In order to give you debt, they look at creating new commodity. They give you houses. They build more houses so they can give you more debt. all the people start working again into the modern slavery. They want to pay their debt. They want to pay their home. That's number one. Cars. This is how the entire national debt was created in America. And this is how you're gonna have to go and fight it, again and try to break through. But this national debt has accumulated a lot to the point where you have to file bankruptcy. Just like if you maximize all your credit card, all your loans, you will not be able to say, whatever you do, you're not going to be able to pay it. You have to declare bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is coming. The dollar will be gone. 100%. I will post this podcast when it happens. But it's not something scary.
Reset is something healthy, I would say, but it is big. I mean, it is scary for some people. What will happen to the cash? What will happen if somebody has $1 million in cash? What will happen as a value for this money? It's going to replace.
I thought about this, and I went back to history. I looked at the history. So what the U.S. government did, people used to trade with gold. They gave them a time frame. They said, within this time frame, whatever gold you have to go deposit it in a bank, and we will give you $1 for it. It used to be $10 for an ounce, and they will give you $10. So people rushed, and they had to. They rushed to the bank, give all the gold that they have, and they get the $10. Then again, the same entity, they told them, okay, now you're allowed to own gold if you want it, but we're going to sell it to you at $37 an ounce. See how the scheme happens? Then people rushed back again and they start buying gold. They did it a couple of times to squeeze here and there. And that's what I believe it will happen today. If you have cash, okay, you have certain time, you have to deposit it. You'll get trade it, you get digital currency. I mean, I don't even use card today. It's just everything on Face app, on the Apple iPhone, on a wallet, on your face. I just put my face, pay it, and I move on. And that's how it's going to happen.
طارق نيمو انبسطت كتير فيك. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us here. It's a wonderful conversation, and truly, even by your question, I'm getting more inspired.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
And we look forward to see you in the US.
Inshallah, for sure. I will do my best. It will be a pleasure to see you there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
مرات كل اللي منا إياه حدا يفهم علينا ويحطنا على بداية الطريق. مرات كل اللي عايزينه هو فكرة أو نصيحة. في أشخاص ألهموني وأثروا بحياتي وعملوا تحول بحياتي المهنية. غير الماستر كلاس اللي عملته، خصصت جلسات استشارة خاصة one on one. رح نحكي فيها عن كل التساؤلات اللي عندك إياها. إذا حابين نكون معكم لتحققوا أحلامكم بعالم صناعة المحتوى، شاركوني بهالرحلة.